What I want to do now is find a way to easily align objects. For example, aligning these rectangles and giving them different shading values. And then I will show you how to add text, which doesn't make any sense, but it will actually fill up any part, any text block, so that you see how the text will fit inside the page. So I create a new file, and here let's create a rectangle and give it a color. Now, in case you ever lose your measurements, the shortcut for this is F9, or you can go to Window and click on Measurements. It's the same thing. Now here the default color is white. I'm gonna change it to cyan. Now if I press Ctrl D, here when I press Ctrl D, it moved down a big distance. If I press Ctrl D again, it's gonna move down a big distance, and so forth. Why? Because if I selected this and pressed Ctrl Alt D, I get a step and repeat command, which lets me create multiple duplicates, with the same offset between them. So let's say that I want to repeat the count by 4, and the vertical offset is in millimeter. Horizontal is like this and vertical is down. So let's say if I look at the height, it's 20 millimeters or 2 centimeters. So if I say 20 millimeters, let's see what happens, and I press OK, I'm gonna get them aligned. I'm gonna undo. I'll repeat, Control Alt D. Now I'm gonna set the width to 25 and the height to 20 so that it's an exact number. And then Control Alt D. If I set the vertical offset to 20, it's the same as the actual height, the same thing. So they will be perfectly aligned. I will undo. Control Alt D. This time I'm gonna have, let's say, 25 millimeters. So I'm gonna have half a centimeter space between them. So if I press OK now, I'm gonna have this half centimeter space. Undo. Control Z. Control Alt D. If I want to have 1 centimeter space, I set this to 30 because the height is 20. I press OK and I get this. So this is how you would create these without having to manually do the calculation. That's one thing that I wanted to show. Something else. Let's say that I had the boxes scrambled like this, and I wanted to align them, but they are already there. So I'm not going to be creating any new copies. I would select them like this. I'd right click and I'll choose Space Align and Space Align. Down here I get the new Space Align options. The first one is Space Top Edges. If I click on it, the top edges, which are this, that, will have the same spacing between them. So let's just make them really scrambled. Again, I'll reselect them and space the top edges, so I'll have the same space between them. If I choose space vertical centers, I'm gonna have the same thing because the vertical centers will be aligned. But if I want to align them at the same vertical, I can choose space left edges. That way the left edges would be evenly distributed between the first and the last. Or I can choose to space horizontally align the left center and they will be aligned. So there is a difference between spacing and aligning. Spacing means that they're gonna have, so let's say that I have one here and one there, right? And the other ones are scrambled like this. Spacing means that the edges between them are going to be, or the distance between them is going to be the same. So if I go like this, space left edges, you see that I'm going to have the same space between them. Alright? So here I'm going to align the vertical centers and they go like this. So spacing is for an even distance between them, and aligning is for them to be aligned horizontally or vertically. So if I go like this, select the first, that's the last. Space them out vertically like this, and then align them like that. And then I would go and place them where I need them to be. So that's how you control the placement of these rectangles. In case you had them created, you use this technique, and in case you're creating new ones, you use the Ctrl Alt D. Yeah, this is in 7.2. It's added, but you will have it soon. Alright, now for the shading, what I did here is give them all the same color and change the shading in different ones. So here they have the same color. I can select this one and set the shading, say, to 85. I can select that one and set the shading to less, and so forth, until I have a gradient that goes down. And this is done from the colors palette. Alright, so I select, and that's the shading. If I select them all and give them a new shading now, all of them will have the same shading. So I should select them one by one and give them that shading. So that's how I created these. For this bar down here, it's a copy of that one, and I scaled down the height. Now how do I add text that has, how do I add dummy text that I can substitute later with regular text? I'm going to create a text box like this. I'm not going to go and write something. It will take me a long time to do that. What I'm going to do instead is go to Utilities and Jabber. When I do that, it will automatically fill my text box with dummy text. So if I zoom over and I try to read to understand, it won't make any sense. Slightly purple, Klingons laughed, however, too schizophrenic. So it doesn't make really any sense, but it's there to fill up your text box with a body of text. For the title here, it's a regular text box with text that has a big size. It's 78 points, and it's a thick font. For that I used Arial Black, and I clicked on the I to make it italic. So that's how I laid out this page.